2022 was a bad year for games, or at least that's what some people are saying. Sure, next year is bringing games like Final Fantasy XVI, Hogwarts Legacy, Spider-Man 2, Zelda 2, Dead Space Remake, Atomic Heart, Starfield. Okay, yeah, next year is gonna bang, but that doesn't mean this year was bad for games. We got games like Elden Ring, Horizon 2, God of War 2, Stray, A New Plague Tale, and many other worthy titles. There were quite a few flops and bad launches too, don't get me wrong, but I refuse to accept this narrative around 2022 having nothing to play. If you only play AAA games, sure, I guess. But if you've paid attention to the smaller titles with less of a marketing budget, there's some good stuff here. I've put together a list of 5 standout games from this year that busier players may have missed, and to show that a year like this really wasn't so bad if you took the time to look around. These won't be comprehensive reviews or anything, I'm just trying to bring some awareness to some awesome games. Also, there's a bonus game at the end for those who stick around, so be sure to stay tuned after game number 5. Infernax is a faithfully developed 2D Metroidvania with challenging combat and non-linear exploration. And while these features are wonderfully thorough with fun, thoughtful platforming and a variety of interesting weapons and spells to fight with, the real standout is the game's choice system in the vein of Castlevania 3. As the Knight Alcidor, you return to your homeland from battling overseas, only to find it overrun by monsters. You're a known entity here, so your actions and decisions will influence how the people view you. Do you choose to save or kill this citizen begging for help? How do you handle a suspicious cult spreading its views around the land? Some of these choices have simple good or evil solutions, while others lean toward the morally gray. The consequences of these decisions might make themselves known immediately or long after you've made your choice. Either way, nothing you're doing should be taken lightly. Infernax has some excellent writing, and I was constantly surprised by how emotional these pixels made me feel. If you're looking for an inspired Metroidvania with quality platforming, fun combat, and meaningful choice, it doesn't get much better than Infernax. At first glance, Rollerdrome looks a little gimmicky. Like, how far can one development team realistically take roller skating with guns? It's only after playing it, however, that you realize they can take it pretty damn far. Playing as Kara Hassan, you're a new contestant in the Battle Royale-like Rollerdrome competition, a televised sport where players don a set of rollerblades, some weapons, and take on sets of enemies while pulling off tricks to compete for the highest score. The obvious comparison is Tony Hawk with guns, and it's honestly a pretty apt one, but Rollerdrome tweaks that formula in valuable ways to keep things feeling fun. For example, there's no wiping out. You can hold a trick all the way to the ground, and Kara will account for that. You can land backwards off a quarter pipe and the camera will reorient for you. There's no balance meter when grinding, and combo meters emphasize combat over tricks. In turn, these systems blend wonderfully with the gunplay. Instead of picking up ammo, you get it back from tricks. Enemies start off stationary, allowing you to focus on controlling your shots as the difficulty ramps up. You have a built-in slow-mo button to take a second and plan your next move whenever you need. Every feature complements the rest, and the game does a decent job of scaling its challenge as you slowly work out how the mechanics mesh together. It's not perfect, it takes some getting used to, and you'll find some jank here and there when navigating, but the high you get from beating a level without getting hit, pulling off insane snipes and satisfying dodges is reminiscent of Doom Eternal, and evoking that feeling is no small feat. Rollerdrome reminds me of why I love video games. No other medium offers the rush and satisfaction of a game like this. Inscryption is a striking deck builder with roguelike elements, and while this fusion of genres might make some players groan, the game's intense atmosphere and psychological horror influence are not to be dismissed. You wake up at a table with an ominous set of eyes glaring from the other side. The being demands that you play a card game and puts forth a surprising amount of effort to teach you how it works. You start to ease up. The creature seems amicable enough, and maybe they really just want to play a game. But as things keep moving along, something still feels off. You'll hear random laughter while you're playing. A card animates and claims it can help get you out. The card game becomes increasingly violent, and you really have no idea what's going on. All you can do is keep going and hope to learn more. That's all I'm going to say. There's a lot I'm leaving out here, and I'm not going to rob you of this game's surprises. But seriously, even if you're not into card games or roguelikes, Inscryption is a one-of-a-kind experience that's worth trying out. Also, I know this game technically came out in late 2021 on Steam, but it released on PlayStation this year, which is my primary platform of choice. So to me, it's a 2022 game, and it's too good for me to not include based on that fact alone. Ever wanted to run your own arcade? How about doing so while getting to play the games? That's what Arcade Paradise is all about. From humble beginnings, you'll start out at the back of your father's laundromat, making your initial funds from handling laundry and cleaning up trash. All of these chores are gamified, so even cleaning the toilet is a little engaging. Eventually, you'll save up enough to buy your own arcade machine, and suddenly you'll have 10. From there, you can manage the price of each game based on its difficulty and average play session. A harder game might cost more, but if that game offers a longer play session on average, then the higher entrance fee is worth it. Finding that balance is key to keeping your business profitable. Of course, you're more than able to spend the day playing these games yourself. Each one comes with certain challenges, such as surviving for a specific period of time or reaching a high score, and doing so increases the machine's popularity, meaning you can charge more for it. So yes, it's a wise business decision to play your arcade games all day, and many of them are good fun. You've got your basics like air hockey and a Space Invaders clone to start, but later machines include a JRPG and Match 3 hybrid, and an addictive twin-stick shooter. Some of these games go much deeper than you might expect, too, with many of them supporting local co-op for up to 4 people, which is pretty sick. The game is a little rough around the edges, but I find that easy to forgive as there's so much to do. Also, they somehow got Geralt's voice actor to play your dad in this game, and there's quite a few references to that, which I really enjoyed.
Important one. Honestly, I'd forgotten about the dump.
It's easy to forget about Sifu, with the game having come out around critical bangers like Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring, but you'd be mistaken to do so. Sifu is a third-person cinematic brawler by developer Slowclap. Emphasis on cinematic. It evolves on the fighting formula popularized by the Arkham games as well as Slowclap's previous game, Absolver. And note my bias here, I love this game like I love Returnal. You play as a nameless kung fu student set for vengeance on those who killed their father. In doing so, you must navigate through 5 stunning levels, taking down groups of enemies alongside a final boss. Combat is the title's main focus, requiring you to master a rhythm of parrying, dodging, and attacking, filling the enemy posture meters to break them and pull off a finisher. If you've played Sekiro, a lot of these ideas are familiar to you, but once you go a little deeper, they start to differentiate. In practice, fighting is incredibly deliberate, and at first, you're gonna get your ass kicked, but you'll quickly learn that button mashing won't get you anywhere. Instead, it's best to approach battles like you would in a traditional fighting game like Tekken, by paying attention and reacting to enemy attacks, either through dodging in the correct direction or parrying as their attack is about to hit. Then you have to counter with intentional combos to win the fight. It's difficult at first, but mastering this gameplay is incredibly satisfying. Along the way, you'll surely die, but death isn't the end here, and you can resurrect to keep things moving along. For a price, that is. Each death contributes to your death counter, which in turn contributes to your overall age every time you die. So one death will put 1 point on your death counter, putting your age at 21. But if you die again, your death counter hits 2 and you're suddenly 23. This is where things get interesting. To beat the game, you have to make it through all 5 levels before age 70. If that happens, you die, but you'll restart the level you died at the age in which you started at. However, you can always go back to levels and try them again to lower your death count and give yourself more chances in the later levels. This is how the game encourages mastery. Don't be put off by me saying there's only 5 levels. These locations are some of the most thoughtfully designed areas I've ever had the pleasure of playing through. Every move, room, encounter, and set piece is built with the mindset that you'll be trying them over and over again. This pair of big dudes might add to your death counter once or twice on your first go around, but after some experience you can beat them down without taking a hit. Struggling with this hallway? Take some time to learn the enemy movesets and you'll start clearing it in no time. As you progress, you're mastering your limited set of combos and adding to them via the game's skill tree. However, failure resets these moves unless you unlock them 5 times in one life. And while that might sound limiting, it's actually the game's way of allowing you to learn your existing combos and integrate them into your movesets. I find it best to focus on 1 or 2 combos per run, learning its pros and cons as I get used to the new button sequence. Once I've got it down, then it's time to unlock a new one and build upon what I've learned. Eventually, you have a whole host of different moves that you know inside and out, bringing with a tangible sense of accomplishment. I could continue gushing about this game, ranting about how rewarding it is if you just take the time to learn its systems, and the effectiveness of its subtle storytelling. But I'd rather save that for a dedicated Sifu video. Instead, know that it's one of the best games to release this year, and I implore you to check it out if anything I said resonates with you. And those were the 5 games that really stuck out to me this year, but I did promise you a bonus game. While there were rumors of a Pac-Man World remake for some time, it was still a big surprise when Bandai Namco revealed the trailer for this PS1 classic in June, with an August release date to top it all off. I have a deep love for 3D platformers, and while this game features a little more 2D than I'd like, it's still a fun time. Levels consist of mostly linear platforming and various enemies to fight, much like our boy Crash Bandicoot. You can butt bounce these MFs, charge roll into them, or in special cases, grab a super pellet and simply smash them back to where they belong, in Pac Hell or wherever things go to die in the Pac world. In typical platforming fashion, each level includes collectibles and minigames for some variety, and even some classic Pac gameplay for the Pac-Man enthusiasts out there. There are even boss fights that do a decent job of challenging your Pac platforming skills, which I found quite fun. This game isn't going to blow your mind or anything, but considering the 3D platformer is a much less prevalent genre these days, it's nice to see bigger publishers putting effort into keeping it alive. The least I can do is bring awareness to that effort. I hope this list provided something new for you to play. If you pick one of these games up, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to talk more about any of them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next year.